Harry is back from the army and finally reunited with his girlfriend Linda. She had just graduated from high school. They decided to travel to the capital together, where Harry had an apartment inherited from his grandmother, who died shortly before he was drafted into the army in the capital. Harry quickly found a job as a security guard at a commercial bank with a local residency. Linda, on the other hand, faced more problems. She spent a long time looking for job openings online, making phone calls, but every time she shared her qualifications, she either faced rejection or was promised a call next. She found an opportunity to work as a janitor in apartment buildings, cleaning entrances. They invited her for an interview. You're going to be my future wife, and you want to be a janitor. Keep looking. Harry protested. Time passed. Linda continued her search and discovered something they hadn't planned on. It can't be. We used the defenses. Go to the clinic, Harry demanded. The pregnancy was confirmed, and it wasn't a small term. Linda called Harry when he was at work. We'll talk at home, he said. Hanging up the phone at Harry's apartment, he looked grim and immediately confronted Linda. I supported you for 4 months, planning to save up for new furniture. Now no one will hire you tomorrow. Sign up for an abortion. I'm not doing that. The baby's already conceived and breathing. I'm not going to kill it, Linda insisted. Pack up your things so there's no trace of you left in my apartment. Look at you. Suddenly becoming a right, I decide everything here, Harry announced, retreating behind the balcony door. Linda left the apartment with her belongings from the bench by the entrance. She called the agency that had a cleaning vacancy. You've contacted us before. We have your phone number, cover. There is a job, but it's in a different area. They informed Linda of this. That's fine with me, she replied, heading toward the subway station. She was hired and even provided housing as an outsider. It was a semi-basement space in her room. She wasn't alone. There were 4 other women there, while the other rooms were occupied by men, shared facilities, one kitchen for everyone. Linda could have gone home to her settlement, but her stepmother warned her goodbye. If you bring it home, I won't let you in. Father was silent. As usual, if Linda's mother had been alive, she would have understood. Linda communicated with her father on the phone, and this time he called her himself. Linda didn't understand. Harry had been here yesterday. He seemed angry. He didn't tell me much about you, Dad. We broke up. I work at the institute washing test tubes. They gave me a dorm room. Linda lied, realizing she couldn't upset him. Daughter, I want to come visit you. Send me the address. Daddy, please don't. Stepmother will make a fuss about the time and money you've wasted. Take care of yourself. You're a caring daughter. Then come by yourself. I ran away from home just so I wouldn't see or hear about your wife. Let's talk. Linda tried to work hard to avoid being criticized by his supervisor. She knew she was at fault. After a while, the supervisor noticed her employee's predicament. You're not officially employed. Handle it however you want, but the entryways need to shine. I'd fire you for not giving notice, but I'm a woman. Fortunately for Linda, she was able to stay on the job. She worked hard, cleaning the entryways early in the morning and late at night, but not every day, following a schedule in rainy weather. She often had to clean, especially on the lower floors. At other times, she checked for trash in the entryways. On weekends, she ran errands for her supervisor. By the end of her pregnancy, she was very tired and had no one to sympathize with her. One evening, feeling sick, she sat down on a step. Get up. A woman's voice sounded behind her as she stood up and turned around. She recognized the older woman from the 3rd floor. She had seen her on the balcony and in the courtyard. I can see you're tired. You're about to give birth, and you keep lugging buckets and washing the steps. It's obvious you don't have a mother. She'd feel sorry for you. Come to my place, lie down, and you'll feel better. Don't worry, I live alone. And then there's the apartment of that compassionate Mrs. Marguerite. Linda, lie down. When she felt better, she was going to resume work. None of them will have tea. Then you will take a shower and go to bed. My son's room is empty as it is. He's been living on his own for a long time, and my grandchildren are grown up. I'm lonely and lonely here. He invites me to live with him, but I don't want to disturb his family. I'm my own boss. Mrs. Margarita told about herself, putting the kettle on the stove and setting cups and a cake lay in the center. After dinner, Linda showered and changed into her mistress's nightgown. Go to bed. The bed is already made, and I'll go next door and ask the neighbor. She will finish cleaning for you and I will pay her, Mrs. Marguerite said. Don't be upset, Linda. The woman left. The bed was so soft. Linda had long forgotten what it was like to sleep in such a spacious bed. By morning, she was having contractions, and Mrs. Marguerite called an ambulance. Linda was taken to the maternity ward in time. A boy was born there, Linda's house, bringing food for the nursing mother. One day, she brought an envelope. My paycheck was given to me, she said, handing it over. You've spent so much on me. Let this be for you. She refused to take the money. What have I spent there? This is more important to you. When Linda and the baby were discharged, Mrs. Marguerite brought them home in a cab. In the room where Linda slept, there was a crib and a stroller, and on the changing table, a pile of baby clothes and toys. Rick had brought it. My grandson brought and assembled the furniture. You'll be staying with me for the time being. The neighbor has agreed to clean our driveway. She could use the paycheck. She's sending money to her mom. Turns out she has 2 kids there. That woman understands everything, the landlady explained. I'll pay you back as soon as I start making money, Linda promised. Time passed, and Linda decided to get a job. Mrs. Marguerite tried to convince her that it was too early, but Linda didn't listen. After all, who knows? Maybe that kind-hearted old lady's plans would change and her son would take her back. Linda worked as a cleaner in the stairwells, leaving her son Adrian, with the landlady's grandson Rick often visiting Marguerite. Grandma realized that the young and beautiful Linda had caught his attention. She didn't want to interfere so as not to offend anyone, and what the future holds, only time will tell. She was concerned. Rick was a student still finding his way in the profession, and he had the full support of his parents. Linda and her child were a burden to them. Linda, I like you. Maybe I'll move in with Grandma and we can start living together. Well, Rick, it's not that simple. It's not going to be a close relationship. You understand why you're a young guy? You've got a lot of studying to do. Yeah, it's premature to think about a family. You'll meet a girl, and she'll have a baby of her, and you'll realize what it's like to be a father. Adrian's not yours. Sooner or later, you'll realize your mistake. And I can't just sleep with you casually. I wasn't raised that way with Adrian's father. We were planning on getting married. We even filed the papers, but he turned out to be a traitor. Now I won't be able to trust anyone for a long time. Rick understood. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. Well, doesn't have to be that way. And the kid walked out of Linda's room. Adrian was 3 years old. Linda planned to put him in daycare and started babysitting. However, tragedy struck. The child became seriously ill. The emergency room doctor, after making a diagnosis, explained to Linda that she needed to take the child to the hospital. Sure enough, the mom quickly gathered at the hospital. Linda's child's attending physician, a man in his 30s, examined the boy. Well, give him a treat, Adrian. He'll be fine. He reassured the frightened mother. My name is Anthony. I'll be watching the boy. Just calm down." And he left the room. Linda asked the head doctor to temporarily hire her as a nurse so that she could be with her son. All were short-handed. "I'll take you on, honey, but permanently. Is that okay with you? The salary is small. Keep that in mind. I'm fine with it." Linda was even happy while Adrian was in the hospital. Anthony became friends with Linda. They often talked about different topics. Gradually, the doctor became so close to this young woman that she, without hiding anything, told him everything about herself. In turn, Anthony shared the story of his life. After school, he applied to medical school, but did not pass the competition. He did not agree to pay for his education. His parents, ordinary doctors, worked in the same hospital. The boy went into the army, but did not waste time there on diligent training, taking his textbooks with him. And when he returned, his cherished dream finally came true. Already from the third year of college, Anthony showed great promise. Teachers praised the student. His classmate, Victoria, recognized that the girl began to treat Anthony differently. They became friends in their final year of college and eventually married. Anthony insisted on living in the apartment where he was born. The reason was different. He didn't want to move into Victoria's parents' prestigious house. He didn't like the thought of having to put up with Victoria's wealthy father, who was as arrogant as his daughter. After completing her education, Victoria took a job at a clinic. Her father managed and owned it. Anthony declined his wife's offer. "I will only work at the hospital where my parents worked for a long time. I'm not interested in being dependent on your father. I will treat the needy for free." Victoria became furious, packed his things, and left the apartment. As Anthony was preparing Adrian for discharge, he suggested that Linda move to live with other people. "That's not right. We're not related either." Linda replied, "I'm a man and you're a beautiful woman. Families are often formed from those who are not related by blood. Don't you agree?" Anthony was sincere. "Is that a suggestion?" Linda smiled. "If so, then consider this my way of proposing to you." Anthony hugged the woman who had become dear to him during his stay in the hospital. "Thank you. I like you too. But I didn't believe you wanted someone with a baby. I want to adopt him, and he'll be mine." Anthony's intentions were serious. Anthony lived alone in a 2-bedroom apartment. His parents, having retired, had moved into the home of his grandmother, who was no longer alive, and soon there would be a new family in that apartment. Since Anthony had become co-ed, he insisted that Linda quit her job. He didn't want her scrubbing floors at the hospital, but taking care of the baby. She agreed. When Anthony and Linda decided to get married, they were well received. Anthony's changed mood did not go unnoticed as he now cared tenderly for Linda and worried about the baby girl. As his mother looked at him, she realized that Anthony was happy. It didn't matter that the baby wasn't his biological child. They would still consider him a grandchild. Linda had long ago informed her father of the change in her life. She invited him alone to the wedding. "I didn't even tell her about you." "Let her think you're a loser," he said. "Why are you with her? You know, it's work-related and there's nowhere else to go." "Okay, Dad, it's your life." Linda agreed. Mrs. Marguerite was also invited to the wedding. She mentioned that her grandson Rick had moved not alone, but with a classmate. She didn't mind as long as there was only one person living in the apartment. Anthony and Linda registered their marriage. As they walked outside, they ran into Henry. Linda pretended not to know him, and he remained silent. She couldn't understand how he was there. Her father had promised not to tell anyone anything. He knew Henry was Adrian's father, but no one in the village suspected, including his probably just a coincidence. All the invited guests gathered at the cafe where the newlyweds arrived at the cafe in a limousine, which they got into after the ceremony. Linda was already pregnant, and it was quite noticeable. Well, they had been living together with Anthony before the wedding. It was a surprise to Linda when Anthony, after leaving the table, went to chat with his friends. At that moment, Harry approached Linda from the set. "Hey, beauty. I decided to come see you. I see you haven't disappeared into the streets and have managed to settle in. You had an abortion? I see. Now you're pregnant. I see that I've been unlucky. I came to divorce my third wife, and here you are. I'll never forget you. You were always good. I've had some bad luck. I was in a car accident, and after several operations, I became infertile. Women ran away from me, and I didn't become a father. I shouldn't have kicked you out then. Maybe forget about that fiancé of yours. Let's run away. And when your child is born, I'll be its father. Get out." You took Linda's father, grabbed Harry by the scruff of the neck, and led him out of the cafe. Before doing so, never, do you hear me? Don't you ever come near my daughter. When he returned, he calmed down. "Linda, my dear, he'll never know Adrian is his son. No one will ever know. You live in peace. Soon Anthony will be Adrian's legal father. It's a good thing they're putting the baby to sleep in the house. He looks like a rascal," Dad sighed. "Thank you, Dad. After that incident, I started to hate him. I used to love him and trust him. After the wedding, Anthony convinced his wife to leave Adrian with her parents. I have to get ready for college. Soon I'll have my own nurse at the hospital. Do they accept pregnant women?" Linda hesitated for a moment. "Why does it matter to them? Your due date is short, and you have exams in a week. You'll start your education. That's fine. But I'll miss my son. I miss him already. We'll spend the weekend with them if we can." Linda started studying, made a phone call, and hurried home. She had to get ready for her son's visit, and when she opened the door to the apartment, she realized someone was there, so she entered the living room. A disheveled woman was stretched out on the couch. "Who are you?" Linda asked. "Who?" "Oh, that makes sense. Anthony's girlfriend, pregnant too. Weird. Anyway, you're gonna have to leave this apartment. I'm pregnant with Anthony's baby too. He chose me, and we'll be married soon. I don't think he promised you anything." She kept talking. Linda, confused, was silent, and Anthony could hear everything outside the door. "That's enough, Victoria. You may be pregnant, but not with my child. I haven't seen you in years. I made a big mistake not changing the lock after the divorce. Return the keys right away." Anthony said that Victoria pulled a bunch of keys out of his purse and threw them on the floor. "I didn't expect you to calm down so quickly. I was sure you were suffering and biting." She walked out with a haughty step, and Anthony hugged his wife. At this moment, Linda came to her senses and, burying her face in Anthony's chest, cried, "Come on, my dear. She's not worth your tears." The self-confident girl could not find her place in life. She played with men, tried to manipulate them. It didn't work on me, and she was bored with the others. But you have nothing to worry about. Your son inside you is crying. To make him smile, Alpino, calm down. It's Friday. I finished work early. The car is parked in the driveway. Need help packing? Adrian's waiting for us there. I already called. I packed what I wanted this morning. I'll add a few things, and we can move on. Linda has finally calmed down. If you like the stories on our channel, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and put a bell to be the first listeners of another new story. Good luck and come back. It will be interesting.